Hey guys, we're live on the moon. It's early Thursday morning, 12:36 a.m., the 7th of June. And look at this spectacular picture with the clouds, kind of shrouding the moon, and it's still got the color. I mean, this is absolutely stunning. Let me explain what you're looking at. That large crater that is to the right of center is Tycho. It's one of the few craters on a real clear night that you can actually see from Earth. You can see it real clear through binoculars. But look at the horse, and look at the blue in the sea. That horse, by the way, is in what they call Mar Nubium, and it's called the Sea of Clouds. How appropriate. I am right now on this moon with a 19 millimeter pan-optic teleview lens. No filters. It's coming to be a bright moon. Matter of fact, when I go back on crater, when I flip around, I'm going to do you a circumference of this moon. We're going to look at it because there's some interesting things that I want to show you. And this is one of my favorite areas on the moon. And it's kind of triangulated. The center crater is called Copernicus. And look at those clouds. Isn't that kind of cool, guys? No, those are not moon clouds. They're clouds in our atmosphere. And at the bottom of that triangle, to the 7 o'clock of Copernicus, is Kepler crater. But of particular interest to me is Aristarchus crater, and that's at the 9 o'clock position to the left of Copernicus. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit because I want to show you some things that are really interesting about this. Isn't that beautiful, guys? I don't know why astronomers don't want to show you the color on the moon. I just can't understand that for the life of me. Isn't that just kind of like a watercolor? Somebody took a paintball and just kind of threw it at the moon and splat. Now take a look at the Aristarchus. I want to call it Aristarchus. It's Aristarchus crater. Aristarchus crater is at the 9 o'clock. Let me try to center it. It's centered now. Let me move it to the... That's why I say this moon is a bright moon, and if you don't get the colors right with the light, then you're overpowered. And let me zoom in a little bit. Let me turn the brightness down. And you can see what interests me about Aristarchus crater is you can see the blue mar around Aristarchus. And I wanted to point that out. I never did before. It's called Oceanus Procellarum, which is the ocean of storms. So you got Aristarchus crater surrounded by the ocean of storms. So isn't that neat? I think it's pretty neat. And let's just go in just a little bit. I've exceeded my clarity, so we'll back out. That's good. What's always interested me about Aristarchus crater is it's that real bright crater, and then to the left of Aristarchus is always this mountain range, and it looks like a mountain range, and it looks like brown or green. I mean, it's got these defined colors. It's really, really fascinating. Okay, let's continue to go up. I've always referred to the coastlands, and coastlands is at our 9 o'clock on this viewport. So you can pretend you're in a spaceship and you're over the moon with Bill, and I'm showing you the moon. Well, to the right of the coastlands is called Mar Iberum, which is the Sea of Showers, or the Sea of Rain. And remember the other night when I was in there so close to Promontory Laplace and Promontory Hercules, and you can see those off the coastlands, or the Jura Mountains. Let's continue to go up. Okay, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. And I'm going to turn the brightness up just a little bit. There. And we're going to work our way to the right. To the shadow. There we go. And this camera is very sensitive to color. Any color that's on the moon will be brought out in the right light. And there you see on the left, isn't that beautiful, guys? The Sea of Serenity. And on the right, the Sea of Tranquility. And I did make a comment that it looked to me like there were structures, and it still does. Look at what I'm interested in is what appears below the surface of the Sea of Tranquility. See those straight lines, those angular lines? Some are at 90 degrees. They look like, to me, tubes. And if you take a look at the craters that are clearly on the top, and it looks like you're looking through crystal or ice into an area below the surface. I'm just telling you what it looks like to me. All those points of light that you see, those small craters, are either on the surface or below the surface. But those lines and those things, whatever they are, look clearly like they're below the surface. And it's just some very, very strange. Let's back out. And then the way the clouds are moving, isn't that pretty cool? I mean, isn't that way cool? You never know what you're going to see on the moon. Okay, I want to show you another thing. The Sea of Crisis. What I call the ferret. There's our ferret right there, centered. Now I'm going to zoom in. Okay. And let me work the brightness down a little bit. Just a little bit. See the two beady eyes and see the whiskers. You can see why I call it a ferret. It's in the Sea of Crisis. And why can we see such detail on the whiskers and those eyes? Because of the shadow line. The shadow line is going from full, and since it's now on the east side of the moon, it'll creep over, and as it creeps over, we should be able to see more detail. And see, when I get up, it kind of washes out, and you can see the clouds below. Those are not UFOs, those are just clouds. Okay. Now let me center that Mar right there that's centered. It's called Mar Fiducius. Mar Fiducius is the Sea of Fecundity, or the Sea of Fertility. See, I'm kind of giving you a tour of the seas. You're going to be so damn smart when you finish watching all my videos. You won't know. You'll be able to get a degree in astronomy just by showing up. And let's continue this sea tour. See that little Mar right there that's coming up on our left? Kind of centered. Right now it's centered. Remember the Snake Bridge? The Snake Bridge is just south of there somewhere. And maybe in the next couple of days I just might get another shot at it. See, the Sea of Trinity is at the 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock position, but right now centered is called Mar Nectaris. And Mar Nectaris is the Sea of Nectar. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue the sea tour from your porthole on the good ship Bill Bryson. Now, there's supposed to be a Mar on but I can't really tell which one it is. I think it's right there, centered. Let me just center it and zoom in. But see, it doesn't look like a Mar, but it was defined as a Mar, and it's called Mar Vaporium, the Sea of Vapors. I guess they called it that because you can't even tell it's a Mar. Anyhow, in this beautiful stuff, guys, and look at the color. Absolutely stunning. I hope you guys have had a great day. Uh, I hadn't been able to get out for the last couple of days. We've had some cloudy weather, which you can appreciate a little bit right here. And see, that's kind of the end of the shadow. But I want to continue to go around and go down. Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's try to focus it just a bit better. Autofocus. In focus. Autofocus. I've been reading one of my favorite authors, and see how I told you it was going to wash out. See how when I go up to it, it trips in. That's Tycho, by the way, and let me turn up the brightness on that now. Tycho is that large crater that you can see with binoculars and good eyesight from Earth. It's one of the largest craters on the moon. And let's go down to the base. Turn it up just a little bit. Anyhow, I've been reading James Bond is one of my favorite adventurers, and that's the Sea of Moisture right there. The Sea of Moisture. So you've gotten a pretty good idea of the different Mars. And let's go up. Kind of where we started, right in this area here. And that crater centered is Aristoteles, the star crater. Well, see, I tried to turn autofocus on, but it didn't cooperate. That's good. Anyhow, I've been rereading all the James Bond novels, which I enjoy. Because in a couple months, Amazon's going to be coming out with all 22 of the movies in Blu-ray. By the way, I did see exactly 2 UFOs before I came live. Now, what in the hell is that? Let's look at that right at the 6 o'clock position. It looks to me like 4 dots darker. Let's zoom in a bit. I don't know what they are. Matter of fact, let's do this. I want to put that Barlow in, and I want to look at that ferret anyhow. So I'm going to put it on pause. We're going to take a look at those dots, whatever they are, right above the sea of clouds with the horse. Oh, and there's one more. Right to the left of the horse, there's a Mar. Let me center it so you know what I'm showing you. It's come on, go up. It's kind of centered right now. This is called Mare Cognitum, the sea that has become known. they got these weird names, guys. Anyhow, I'm going to put it on pause. We're going to put the Barlow in and take a look at the moon and see what else we can see. Hang with me, guys. Okay, we're back, and I have the Barlow in, and I want to just zoom in on those dark spots, whatever they might be, and just see if we can see something. The atmospherics are pretty bad, so I don't think we will, but I'm going to at least try to go in and look at them. No, that little yellow thing that you saw was not a UFO. That was an aberration with the software camera. And it looks to me like they're not shadows, guys. They are definitely not shadows, but I don't know what they are. And you can see when I go in too close, I go beyond what I would consider the atmospherics to permit me a clear image. Okay, let's go back up to the Sea of Serenity and the Sea of Tranquility. And matter of fact, just for grins, let's see if we can see anything below the surface, and zoom in with full power on this. See, this is the strangest thing, and if somebody knows what they are, please tell me. Scientists might say, well, they're just impact, Oh, 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 a flying bat, guys. Like, an asteroid hit the moon, and, you had that left over. Okay, but I've seen it below these Mars, and it really just looks. Let's just zoom all the way in and see if we can. Okay, and let me turn autofocus on and see if it will kick in, and let me turn the brightness down. And the contrast up. It's just hard. Let me back out a little bit. You can see what I'm looking at. There's some strange things. Matter of fact, let's go north a bit. See, that's the thing about it. When astronomers don't show you the color, you lose a lot of the detail of the image. When you, by the way, that crater that is above center is Dawes crater, and that crater is 11 miles wide. But take a look at the Serenity crater below the surface. Let me zoom in on that. Just let's see. Even it has stuff below the surface on it. It's just that you can see more of that stuff with the blue isn't that interesting? I just don't know. See, you can see those craters are clearly on the surface, and then you can see that it just doesn't look like the rest is on the surface. It looks like it's below the surface. One of the criticisms I get from astronomers is, well, you're just a hokey guy. You don't know anything about astronomy. I don't. I'm a kind of a guy that I learn as I go, and I'm practical. That's not to say that I wouldn't believe it if I studied it or understood it. But I'm looking at stuff below the surface that I can't understand. Okay, now we have this, let's go, it's going to get bright, but let's go back up here to the ferret, the Sea of Crises. And there's one structure in particular that interests me, and that is the whiskers. And I want to zoom in now on that area. And I'm going to have to put it in manual focus again. Hang with me. Autofocus. You can see the atmospherics working against us. In focus, autofocus. And let me try to turn autofocus now on. And turn the brightness down. Look at that weird looking mouth on that crater for the ferret. And let's just kind of let it glide to the left. We turn the brightness up. Anyhow, as I was saying, I like James Bond, and I'm rereading for the third or fourth time, Ian Fleming's books, which I really do like. Now I see something else that's kind of strange. See, I'm a kind of guy that looks. When I was in the Army, in the National Guard, I was in the Rangers for 4 years at Fort Benning. But when I was in the National Guard, I was in intelligence for part of that time. So I've been trained to look for things that don't look normal. And I see something there that doesn't look normal, and I want to get in there and see what it is. I'm going to try to center it, centered right there. I don't know what I'm looking at. It doesn't quite look like I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like a pie on the bottom. See that pie shape? And then see that thing going off to the north of that to the other side? And it looks like a snake. It looks like a tube that bends and turns. Doesn't that look like that to you? It's not a straight line by any. It's probably just a mountain range, but that's what it looks like to me. And sometimes I don't see things until I watch the video. Let's go back out and look at that again. See that thing I'm looking at? It's kind of centered now, right now. And, well, I just don't know what it is. Turn the brightness up just a bit. Well, the moon was not as clear as it's been for me in the past, but it you know, it's a pretty good session. Now, there's another kind of strange thing. Look at that large crater. Okay, centered, that large crater. I could find out what it is, but I'm not going to take the time. From the 9 o'clock position, pointing to the left, is what appears to be a tube or a wall. And then it appears to be structures or something on the other side and going in to a tunnel on the I don't know what it is. Put yourself like this. If you were a little Tom Corbett space cadet walking around, that would be an interesting thing to look at. Let's zoom in a little bit and see, and then I'm going to shut this thing down. Let's see if we can see anything. The interesting thing about that crater is that crater has a stack of rocks in the middle. It's probably an antenna, a mile high. And then to the right, it looks to be like another mountain range. So it's kind of a weird, you know, if a crater just landed there and then the mountain, how can you have a mountain range within a crater like that, especially at the edge? And then to the left, you got this thing going. It's probably just the bottom lip of a crater, but you can see how I look at things. I look at things differently than most people. Okay, that's it. A good session. We saw one UFO, and we did, in spite of everything, look at the color there. Let me turn the brightness up. And let me zoom back out. Between the Sea of Serenity on the left and the Sea of Tranquility on the right, and the astronomers say there is no color on the moon. It is a dead planet. They're loony tunes. Anyhow, wishing you and yours clear skies, guys.